First up is Jose, and yeah, the character is looking pretty good. I'm not sure why you did this thing where one leg's to the side and one is to the front. Um, Also, this one pointed to the front has a look of sort of being twisted, um, just because of the. I guess it's mostly those edges there. So I might try to make some adjustments to that. Also, it's sort of pushed in here a little bit, so um, probably move these out a little bit just to kind of smooth this out. I think the other thing is I noticed is that you've combined it. There's really not much of a good reason to combine it. I'm going to separate it back out again. And yeah, I would kind of work on this area a bit, and then I can sort of adjust these corresponding ones too. But yeah, that's looking a little kind of strained there. And yeah, I mean, I sort of would expect this side thing to continue up a little bit. Yeah, and I feel like we're needing more. Everything just looks really stretched down here, and I'm not sure exactly how that all occurred, but the upshot is that I think you need more detail. But something got, just feels like something got kind of goofed up here at some point, because everything looks a little stretched and twisted. And then for some reason that looks pointed to the side, which is weird. Or it's sort of like you had it facing forward, and then you turned it to the side, because this actually looks more normal this side, except for that it's facing the wrong way. So I might just, didn't I separate this? Oh, it's only one piece. So this boot thing is part of the same object. Wow, that's a little wacky. I would have made those separate objects. And you have these intersecting surfaces and stuff like that. So it's a bit difficult to kind of sort that out now, with all the intersecting surfaces. And I'm just gonna try deleting off some faces and see what we've got underneath. Or actually, you know what I might do is do mesh extract, and then this will be a separate piece here. So let me just center the pivot on that. Modify center pivot. Move this out, and left quite a mess behind when I did that. Wow. Yeah, it's kind of, honestly, it's a little bit. But I might rework the legs a little bit. Frankly, I would I would maybe delete everything below this and kind of redo those legs and do these little armor pieces as separate pieces rather than, it looks like maybe you've extruded them out from the surface. Which, I mean, I guess if you can get away with it, it'll be alright. But the other thing is you just plain need a lot more detail on here. You're going to need to add some, add some more edge loops and kind of, shape this a little bit more. Get that adjusted, and then, probably another one at the wrist as well, and get some more shape to those. And the thumb is looking really a little distorted, and yeah, definitely needs some attention on the thumb, and then some additional. There should be usually it's at least one additional loop on either side of each knuckle, so you'll need additional things at the joints, and then the fingertips need to be rounded out. You can push these back a little bit, for example. Maybe these out some, just to round out finger. So yeah, I think the general thing is this needs more detail. It needs to be rounded out. I would really try to separate off the kind of the clothing and the armor from the uh, character instead of trying to be one seamless thing, because I mean it can work. I suppose you don't absolutely have to do that. If it's working, it's working. I just normally wouldn't do it that way. Um, but yeah, definitely more detail and get these feet both facing forward, but get the hip area fixed. Like I said, I would tend to just delete from here down and redo the legs, just because of the weirdness going on here. But I mean, overall, the character's got a good look. I just think it needs a little bit more detail and some attention and get those legs straightened out. Next up is Gabriel, and yeah, this is looking good. You've got a whole nice environment built, which is great. Lots of props. Really good work on that. And I'm seeing these sort of artifacts here on the character, those kind of black lines, although I guess they don't show up as much when you're close. Usually it means one of two things. Either one is you have surfaces directly on top of each other, or you can often get rid of these by adjusting the clipping plane. If you go View, Camera Attribute Editor, and increase the near clip plane to something like 1, and you can see they go away there. Looking at the character, yeah, mostly looking good. Some good geometry there. I think I might try to even out some of these edge loops a little bit on the arm. Shift right mouse click, slide edge tool. Just they're a little bunched in that one area. I think they could even out a little bit. And let's take a look at the hand. Usually that thumb isn't totally perpendicular to the hand. Usually it's like, I'm going to try selecting it. I'll select one vertice and then do the greater than symbol, like shift period. Grow that selection to say, maybe, actually let's go back one and then do soft select B and grow that a little bit, something like there. And then I'll rotate this, and you can adjust the pivot of your rotate. I'm going to hold down D and V, and snap it to the end of the thumb. But the other thing I'm going to do is, again, holding down D, can't I adjust my, doesn't want to do, there we go. So now I'm adjusting kind of the angle of the rotate. I just had to click that little channel changer guy, and now I can, oh, I think I've got discrete rotate on. I'm just holding down E and then left clicking, and I get this menu, and I'll uncheck discrete rotate. Why is it jumping like that? It's really weird. Shouldn't be. Is that, yeah, that's weird. Let me reset this. Well, anyway, you can also just use this outside ring. Yeah, that's sort of working there. And adjust this. Doesn't have to be so fancy. But yeah, it should be more at a diagonal to the hand than totally perpendicular to it. So it kind of goes across. Actually, I might lower that a little bit. Something like that. And the knuckles are looking a little funny, I think, because maybe they dip in too much. So I would tend to kind of pull up some reference on that because they look a little odd. Yeah, face coming along. I think the eye shape could use some work. Again, maybe pulling up a reference image and kind of getting that. Is this a sphere? See, that's an elongated sphere. One of the things you should do is put, a regular sphere shape in there. It's almost like, and I don't know if this is the case for sure, but it's almost like you've matched um, the eyelid shape to the eyeball to the eyelid shape rather than getting a proper eyeball, like a spherical eyeball. I'm just going to put that to 90 degrees and push that back. Might put the pivot point, hold down D and V and middle mouse drag to get that right to the center, and then let's put on shading, wireframe unshaded, and then okay, so now that's about the position of the one you put in there, but this is a spherical eyeball. And I think part of what will help your eye shape is if you match it to, I'm going to grab these verts on this. I've got soft select on, probably too big, hold down B. I don't know why it keeps wanting to grab that one too. Hold down B. Why does it keep doing that? Let me just reset this. Oh, maybe it's that way. Okay, yeah, and left mouse drag, and then just get a smaller area there. And I'll pull this out some, pull that out some, and then push in here. Just trying to kind of shape this to the eye better. I think this still needs a fair amount of attention, but kind of push this in underneath here. Just trying to get a little bit of bulge to the lids. Looking maybe a little bit better. I think a lot of this needs to go back. Yeah, that part's looking a little funny now. And yeah, that shape is looking, yeah, looks things got a little wacky around the nose. I don't know if I did any of that just now, but some of that needs some shape too. So I think, yeah, you need to kind of get in here and shape things a little bit more, give it a little bit more time and attention. Anyways, and then at some point you'll have to mirror it again. I think the lip, one way to get a little bit more of a round shape to that lip is if we grab these points and hold down W for the move tool options, left click, axis, normal, and then click and drag on that. Actually, let's turn off smooth select. So see how that kind of bulges it out a little bit. I'll deselect from the end and I can push it out a little bit more and deselect from the end. And again, I'm just using middle mouse drag with that normal thing selected, the normal direction. So I think, yeah, and then I'd probably want to repeat with these. And again, deselect from the end. And maybe this could slide down a little bit too. Maybe from here to there. Oops. Didn't want to select this one and that. Okay, shift right mouse click, slide edge, Middle mouse drag, move that down a little bit. Maybe move these guys a little more, and then maybe I can pull this out, touch, and maybe kind of round that out more. I don't know. Yeah, just keep kind of working it and give it some more shape, and then remirror the character. To mirror the character, just going to isolate select real quick, and select half of the character, and just double check your selection. It's really easy to lose stuff like that. Oh, that's interesting. You don't have a split down there, so we're probably going to want to add that. So let's do that. Is that the side? Yeah, that's the side I was working on. Okay, maybe I should split it first, huh? Mesh tools, multi-cut tool. That to that. Enter. Okay. And right mouse click face. Okay, and then double check your selection. I'm just going to Control Shift select those and make sure we don't have those. Just double check the face. Okay, I'm missing a lot on the face, so let's get those. Use Control and Shift to add to the selection. Alright, and good. Alright, so delete that side. And then we got to make sure the center line is lined up, so I'm going to double click on that edge. Control F9 will turn that into vertices. W for the move tool. Let's reset the tool. In X direction, we want to make sure we're on absolute transform. Type 0, enter. Okay, so those are along the center line now. Right, and make sure everything looks good here. Something looks a little funny there. So I think I might have gotten some extra faces on accident. Okay, so I just undid that because I messed that up. Alright, that looks better. So once again, let's select that edge, that open edge. Control F9 to turn it into vertices. Run move tool. Absolute value 0 in the X direction. I feel like it's moving it too much for some reason. See what it looks like when I mirror it. Select the object. You can get it from here, right? Shift, right mouse click, mirror polygon, and that'll be mirror X plus X, I think. Yeah. And then just in your mirror thing here, make sure that the merge threshold is set really low, like 0.001. It does look kind of stretched out in the face now. I wonder if it wasn't along the center line before. Like it wasn't exactly centered. I don't know why it looks so messed up now. Weird. Anyway, and keep going. Let's turn off isolate select again. Yeah, everything looks a little offset. I wonder if it wasn't quite centered. Yeah, everything's a little shifted, which makes me think it wasn't quite symmetrical before. Somehow it seems wider now. Might open that up just to see. Could have been something I did too. Oh no, she's definitely not on the center line there. Yeah, look at that. So that's a little tricky. So I think what you're going to want to do is before trying to mirror it, select all the objects and kind of scoot it over so she's as centered along the center line as possible, and then mirrored it. Because of what I did messed it up because I moved that stuff over to the center line and made things too wide, so her whole body and all her clothing needs to move over. But anyways, yeah, I think some of the shapes could use some refining and better, but I mean, this character is usable. You could animate, you can rig and animate the character as it is now. I just think some of the shapes could use some improvement. Okay, next up is Amber, and yeah, regarding the castle, I would encourage you not to necessarily think about modeling, everything from every angle, but think about your character being in front of a certain part of the castle as your sort of set, like your movie set, and then just only model the parts of the castle that we would going to see through the camera. So don't try to do everything from every angle, just model a small portion of it that we'd see through a camera view. Regarding this chair, from this view, the normals are flipped from this, so I would give this some thickness anyways. Is this paper thin? It kind of looks like it is, but if we switch to, oh, that's nerves, is it? I see. Yeah, I might convert to polygons and then give that some thickness. You know, I would tend to just convert into polygons. I know the lesson's about nerves, but at this point it'd probably be easy to convert to polygons and then continue the shape from there to get it all seamless. Yeah, I like this bridge. That's looking good. Looks like you need the side here. And again, just converting it to polygon seems easier. Let's focus on the character. Might isolate her. And yeah, it's coming along. I think these fingers really need more detail at the knuckles and additional edge loops. And why is there holes at the end here? You can use shift right mouse click, select that and then fill hole, and then grab the multi-cut tool, mesh tools, multi-cut tool, and then split that to fix those. So you can go around and fix those fingers. But then, yeah, it definitely needs more shape. Get yourself, some additional loops, usually, 3 at each knuckle, and then, adjust the shape a little bit. So I'm just doing this kind of quick and dirty. I don't think that looks great or anything, but, it's just shape the fingers more. And think about how they get a little bit thicker from the base to the tip. They start out a little thicker and then get gradually thinner, both from the top view, but even more so from the side view. And yeah, the thumb still needs a lot of attention and additional detail here, so add some loops and work that in. Yeah, more on the forearm. Mush tools, multi-cut tool. Add a few. Well, start with one, but then shape that a little bit more. You're probably going to need another one at the wrist. And this is all looking a little blocky. I mean, I know it looks smooth, but yeah, you kind of don't have a sense of any bicep there, so I might pull this out some. And again, you might need some additional detail. I think give it more of a shoulder shape here, kind of round that out some. You really need to add a lot more loops around the eye. So, and really shape in the eyelids. Oh, that's like the modeling toolkit thing. Okay. It's just not. Mesh tools, multi-cut. Okay. Yeah, so, add some more loops around the eyes and, really shape this to the eyeball. Just sort of go point by point. And, I don't know which one we're seeing here, but yeah, this just needs to be formed to the eyelid, and move these forward. And because right now you don't have much eyelid shape there, and then just keep adding loops and kind of start forming the lids out of that. It's sort of the same with the lips. You're definitely going to need some more loops going around the lips. Oh, you don't have a proper loop there, or do you? I think this one needs to move out some. Yeah. Does that even, that doesn't even go all the way around? Yeah, something got real messed up here. Because this should go all the way around, but for some reason it stops there. Oh, that one is a loop. Wow, yeah, this is really like kind of distorted and stretched out here. Um, so I think, yeah, a little surgery is called for here to kind of pull this stuff apart. So that's sort of a weird loop there. That's weird, it goes around the bottom of that nose. Shift right mouse click, slide edge. Where is it? Here. Give myself a little more room. What I want is, I thought, was there at some point, was there an actual working edge loop? There is not. Oh, I can see right here. Yeah. So that must be, is that why it's not proper loop? I don't even know. Yeah, I mean, this kind of is a bit of a mess here. I'm not sure. Just trying to figure out the best way to salvage this. Feel like if this continued down there, it would work as an edge loop. Like if we did, let me try this, mesh tools, multi-cut. See if mirror is working. Yeah, it seems to be. Okay, so I think just trying to figure out how to, it's easy. Oh, that is a loop. Okay, so there is a loop there. So let's just try sliding that one out some, and then we can go back in and add in some more. Yeah, and then you can kind of move this stuff out to make some room. And then with, now that you have some actual loops, you know, then you can go back in and start shaping the lips with the loops, because you sort of have to start over with those shapes. But you need to have the proper loops there, and then you can begin shaping the lips. But yeah, that's, I don't know, that's more than I can do right now. But yeah, get those loops around the eye. I think you'll need some additional detail in the ear to be for it to bend and stuff. So yeah, it's coming along. I think it just needs a little more detail and some more shape in some areas. But you know, I think you'll get there. Next up is Jessica, and I'm having that same history issue. I can see that the history is still on here, so if you could turn it in again, deleting the history, that would be good. Not sure what kind of props we're looking at there. Looks like a collar and some kind of dog bone box or something. Let's take a look at the snapshots here. It's a little bit hard to tell from this, but I think you need more additional edge loops in the legs and the ankles and define the shape there. I mean, even if this looks all crazy, I can see that there's definitely not enough detail in the model. So more edge loops and get that stuff shaped better. I demonstrated in an earlier video how to get the delete half of the character and then mirror it again. So that should solve your mirroring problems. Um, Yeah, not much I can directly show on here, but generally I think, yeah, more detail needed. It looks like you don't have hands and fingers, so build those out. More edge loops to kind of shape it. It looks very sparse right now. And yeah, keep going and yeah, delete history and turn it in again. Next up is Marcela, and yeah, you've got a graveyard going, and it looks like you're having some fun with paint effects, which is all right. Although if you go too far with it, it can slow down the render. One thing I would say is, think of it as a set, and don't make it flat. Like find a way to not have to deal with having a horizon line. Like maybe it's on a hill, or maybe like there's a mausoleum that, or a few that's blocking the view behind the character, but you don't want to have to deal with like what's outside of this square. So if we're kind of looking at it from just generally one, like mostly from the front but from some angles from there, and this goes up as a hill, then we're not dealing with the background. Or if there's a building behind there, or some trees or rocks or something, where we don't have to deal with that infinite horizon line. Taking a look at the character, yeah, this is actually looking pretty good. Is this on reference or something? Why is it not picking it? It doesn't seem to be on reference here. Usually, no, it's just being weird about the display for some reason. Okay, I'm just going to turn on wireframe unshaded. That's on too. Interesting. I might just have to restart Maya because it is acting a little weird. Um, But yeah, and here's another one. I would definitely say more edge loops. Another one in the forearm, at least one more in the bicep. Um, and yeah, this stuff's looking pretty a lot. Yeah, definitely more loops there. And yeah, like on the fingers, more detail on the fingers. At least 3 edge loops for each place where it bends. This is looking a little messed up and overlap there. I would clean that up. It's looking. Is that asymmetrical? It looks a little. Yeah, that's not symmetrical. So, like I demonstrated earlier, I would delete. I understand that the hairs. Also, I don't combine. I don't know why people combine so much. Keep this stuff separate. Um, I see that you've built the hair out of many different pieces, which will probably be fine for this. Um, yeah, the face is looking like some pretty good construction there, and it's got some character. I would probably, add some more loops here and kind of form an eyelid there. Um, didn't really do the mouth cavity, but hopefully you'll get away with it. This is looking a little, yeah, it's quite a dense collar, so I might, in contrast with the rest of it, so I might lose some of those edge loops. Just select the edge loop and then shift right mouse click. Is there delete edge here? I'm more used to using 2018 at this point. You can do edit mesh and where's delete? Yeah, delete edge vertex. Control delete does that too. So you might take out some of those loops, like you know, control delete and takes the loop out. And actually, so far, it's not even changing the shape. When you take some of those out. So it's just, I guess it's, I mean, compared to the rest of the object, it looks really dense. But yeah, I mean, you're still pretty much maintaining the shape even with losing some of those loops. That's not the biggest deal in the world. Mostly this thing needs more detail, not less. Get a little bit more shape to the thigh and just kind of indicate a knee a little bit better right now. It's pretty blocky and straight, and so get some more loops in there and kind of round out the calf and get a more of an ankle shape and a knee shape and those kinds of things. And yeah, the face is looking really good though, but I think the body needs more attention to detail and more edge loops to work with. So keep going. Next up is Eugene, and yeah, this is looking really good. I'm just it's great topology and all that. Really good shapes. You might want to get a little more detail around the eyes, some more loops around the eyes to be able to work with the eyelids. Looks like you've got sort of a got to fix. Oh, it's still split in half. So get that to be seamless. I demonstrated that at the beginning, how to do that. But I mean, I suppose I could just do it real quick with this because it looks pretty clean. Should just be able to do shift right mouse click, mirror polygon. It will be -x this time, and then just check in your mirror thing that the threshold is something like 0.001, so it doesn't mess up any of the vertices, and that gets that head to be seamless. And then I guess I guess that already is one piece. I thought I saw a bit of a seam down the center. So you might want to try deleting one half of it and then remirroring it to get rid of that seam. It should work. Maybe a little bit more indication of a knee. I'm a little concerned, but the armor is very big, and I think it's going to really limit the movement the character can do. So I know it gives it some of its style, but at the same time, those enormous shoulder pads are really going to limit the way that the character can move. So consider, the shapes are great, but I think if you shrunk them down, the character is going to be able to move around a bit better, and you think you'll have a better time animating if you do that. But this is great work. I mean, this is really above and beyond expectations for the class, so good job on this. Yeah.